I still remember the night we drove past the river. It wasn't planned. It wasn't even special, not at first. Just one of those summer nights when the air smells like warm grass and freedom, and the world feels too big to fit inside your chest. We were 20, maybe 21. Two college kids, half broke, half in love, pretending we didn't care about anything. He had that old blue truck that rattled when it hit 50, and a smile that always made me forget what I was about to say. We'd been friends for almost a year. The kind of friends who text at 2 a.m. and call it just checking in. The kind who share playlists, inside jokes, and excuses to see each other without admitting why. That night, he'd asked if I wanted to go for a drive. No destination, no plan. Just drive. And that's exactly what we did. The highway was quiet, only the hum of tires and a few lonely streetlights flickering by. He kept one hand on the wheel, the other tapping to some old indie song on the radio. I leaned my head against the window, pretending to look outside, but really watching his reflection in the glass. He broke the silence first. You ever feel like you're just waiting for something to start? I smiled. All the time. He nodded, eyes still on the road. Yeah, like you're in your own life, but not really living it yet. I didn't know it then, but that line would stay with me for years. We drove for another hour before stopping near the river, the one that cuts through the edge of town, quiet and dark, except for the moonlight rippling on the water. We got out, sat on the hood of the truck, and said nothing for a while. The night felt endless, the kind that makes you think anything is possible, even forever. He looked over at me, then back at the water. If I kiss you right now, he said softly, do we ruin everything? I laughed, nervous, honest. Probably. He smiled. Yeah, probably. Then he kissed me anyway. It wasn't fireworks. It wasn't movie perfect. It was real. Warm, hesitant, human. Like a secret the world didn't need to know. After that, everything changed. We still acted like friends in public, but when it was just us, everything felt different. His hand would brush against mine and stay a little longer. His eyes would find me in crowded rooms. And sometimes we'd drive out to the same river, just to sit there. No words, just breathing in the same air, knowing we were both scared to define it. That summer became a blur of coffee dates, long drives, and late-night talks about dreams that felt too far away. He wanted to move west, maybe start a design firm. I wanted to write stories, scripts, anything that made people feel something. We talked about our fears too, about growing up, about losing people, about turning into our parents. He said he never wanted to become one of those men who stopped believing in love. I told him I didn't believe in forever. He said maybe we could prove each other wrong, and for a while it felt like we did. But time has a funny way of moving faster when you're happy. By late August, everything started to shift. He got an internship offer in Seattle. It was everything he'd worked for. He told me about it over milkshakes at the diner near campus. I smiled and said, "That's amazing." He smiled back, but his eyes were searching mine for something I wasn't ready to say. We didn't talk about what would happen to us. Maybe we were both too afraid to admit we didn't have an answer. On his last night in town, we drove again, back to the river like always. It was cold, windy, almost raining. We sat there, not touching, not speaking, just breathing. Finally, he said, "Promise me you'll write something about us one day." I said, "Maybe." He said, "I mean it. I want to be a story." And I said, "You already are." He laughed. That same easy laugh I'd fallen for. and said, "Then make it a good one." He left the next morning. We hugged at the airport. No tears, no goodbye speech. Just one of those long, wordless hugs that mean everything and nothing at the same time. And then he was gone. We tried to stay in touch at first. Texts, calls, random miss you messages. But life happened. Schedules got busier, replies got slower. Soon, talk soon turned into, hope you're doing well. And just like that, the river between us became real. A year later, I saw his name pop up on social media. A picture, him and a girl. She looked kind, bright, safe. They were laughing, standing by the ocean. I stared at it for a long time. Then I smiled, because honestly, he looked happy. And maybe that was the point of love, to leave someone better than you found them. I went back to the river once more, alone. The air was colder than I remembered, and the water louder. I sat on the same rock we used to sit on, pulled out my phone, and scrolled through old photos, blurry selfies, road signs, sunsets from the truck window. I realized I didn't feel angry or heartbroken anymore. Just grateful. Grateful that for a few months in a small town, two people found something that made the world feel simple. I picked up a small stone, tossed it into the water, and whispered, "Thank you for being the part of my life that made everything else make sense." Then I turned back to the road. The world was still wide and restless, waiting for me to catch up. Sometimes, late at night, I think about what might have happened if he'd stayed. If we'd been brave enough to fight the distance. If love had been enough. But then I remember his words. You ever feel like you're just waiting for something to start? And I realize maybe that night by the river was the start. Maybe it was meant to be short, to teach me how to love, how to let go, how to love. Because not every love story is meant to last. Some are just meant to be told. And this was ours.